You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, we're Enterprise Splaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Maria, and these are my co-hosts, Jamie.
Hi.
And Bill.
Hello.
Today, our mission is a second contact. Last week, I told Bill and Jamie what happened in the Star Trek Enterprise episode, Dead Stop. They have now watched the episode and are back with their thoughts. So make sure you listen to last week's episode before you listen to this one. So, last week we watched the episode Dead Stop. What did you guys think of the episode?
I stand by my statement mid-episode. That's like, oh wow, this is really fascinating because it reminds me of the Next Generation. It's like, oh wow, this is like we're in a Next Generation episode here in Star Trek Enterprise. And then these fucking simians decide, we need to fuck this up. We need to destroy everything good that is going on in this episode. Yeah, and it was just cool seeing cool technology that actually worked. It was kind of fascinating. Obviously, we were all waiting for the other narrative shoe to drop, and the idea that they faked the death of a crew member to pull them in until their desiccated corpse faded away,
Right?
Was a big price to pay. But I have to admit, I was kind of happy watching the episode at the end that the station was rebuilding itself, because A, it implies the station builders knew this was going to happen, and B, people who rely on this station can come back here, and it's not just going to be they're going to starve to death in the depth of space. So I liked the episode. It was fun.
I liked it too. It didn't bother me at all that we never found out the answer to the mystery. Like, we never figured out who built this station. Because I do think, like, you're going around space, there's so much weird stuff out there. You're going to come across some stuff sometimes that is just mysterious and weird. I do feel like Enterprise has done this a couple times, and I hope they don't do it too many, because I do feel like relying on that crutch I hate, but every once in a while I think is okay.
Yeah, I think it was way less annoying than in that Silent Enemy episode, where the whole point was about, like, who was this mysterious enemy, and they never found out, and that bothered me a whole lot.
It didn't bother me in that either.
Yeah, it bothered me in that one, because I feel like we knew a little bit about them, but not enough, and it felt like we had enough information that maybe we could figure it out, but they never actually closed it out. Whereas this one, it was like, theirs is completely mysterious and we have no idea.
I like the idea that this was like a chain restaurant, that this is just like, you're going to find these stations all throughout the universe. And it's like, obviously, it's a Lower Decks joke. It's like, the price is 200 liters of warp plasma and one crew member.
I really wish they had leaned a little more into horror tropes for it. They did, like, at the end when they had the station rebuilding itself, that was definite horror trope. But I feel like they didn't really do that up to that point. But it is like a really creepy horror premise where you have this station where everything seems a little bit too perfect, but it's got this, like, potential murderous secret.
Yeah.
And I think that you could have done the same episode, but with slightly different directing to make it feel creepier. Like, all the whiteness of everything was so perfect, but, like, if they had showed bigger, like, wide shots of the long white hallway or, like, the empty rec room, I do feel like they could have taken the same steps and with a little bit of changes to the directing, made it seem way creepier. In the scene where Malcolm is getting his leg healed, that room should have been more minimalist, like had like almost nothing in it, and he just like lies on a table in the center, and then there's like a laser. It would have been great if Phlox were not even allowed to go into the room with him.
Right.
Basically to like give this feeling.
I thought they were in sickbay on the Enterprise.
They were in sickbay, but
but then the ship was fixing them in sickbay.
they had Peanut Hamper.
An exocomp.
Peanut Hamper had an exocomp had materialized in sickbay to fix Malcolm's leg, and then it disappeared. Right as Phlox was saying, I would really like to have one of these. It just disappeared. So yeah, I think I agree with you, Jamie, though. It would be cool if it had been in, like, you have to be in one of our labs for us to fix you.
Yeah. If everything just felt like a little too perfect, like so perfect that it's a little off. Because there was one point where Archer says that something feels off and he's like trusting his gut. And I was like, nothing actually feels off to me. Like from the audience perspective, I know something's off because I know how narrative works. There's got to be something weird going on. But it never felt unsettling up until the point where it was.
Right.
And I would have liked if they had leaned into that a little more. And I think you could have had the exact same episode, but just like brought in some of those horror tropes to give it that unsettling feeling the whole time. I even just like a change to the music. At the end when we see the bodies, I do wish that had looked a little scarier. Like it kind of just seemed like a bunch of people laying on things. I would have liked if they did something a little more like in the second episode when we saw like the bodies hanging from hooks, like something that just looked creepier. Yeah, like this episode feels like it should be a horror episode, but is somehow not. Also, the special effects in the episode I thought were great. Every time the ship was like fixing the other ship, that all looked really good. Yep. Even the makeup effects, like Travis's wounds looked like very good real wounds on the dead body.
Yeah, this episode won or at least was nominated, if not won an Emmy for visual effects.
Oh, I could totally see that. And speaking of Travis, you were right, Maria. Travis is so cut. When he did not have his shirt on, I gasped. I gasped. He is taking advantage of the on-ship gym, let me tell you.
Yeah, he is.
In 2 Days and 2 Nights, when Travis said he was into rock climbing, I was kind of skeptical because I'm like, that is a weird hobby for someone who has spent his whole life on cargo ships. But when I saw him in this episode, I'm like, yep, he looks like a man that has upper body strength of a rock climber.
Yep.
I also wrote down a Phlox line that I really loved. He said, it's ironic in a way. The station can duplicate a dead body in all its exquisite detail, yet a simple living one-celled organism is beyond its capability.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like as an atheist, I don't actually believe there's anything special about life beyond the technical aspects. Like if you could recreate all the pieces of a body, I feel like you could animate that body, or like at least a one-celled organism. But I love the idea that you can't. That like actually like even recreating a simple one-celled organism, giving it life is like not something that you can do.
You can put all the chemicals together, you can put the chains together, but you can't imbue it with life.
Yeah. On the other hand, Data. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But I guess he doesn't count as, in this case, he doesn't count as life because it's not like a cell where it's like
it's not a biological life.
But it's really too bad about all those other people that they blew up.
They blew up so many people.
If they had one line that was like, can we save someone else? And they're like, we don't have time. And then like, I think that would have been fine.
Or just like, or even if because they were like, oh, almost all of them were brain dead. And it was like, almost like it still feels shitty, but that was the example. But like,
no,
if they
I think it was most of them are brain dead, which only implies more than half.
Yeah,
30%.
So that like even if they had kept that, but then been like, they're all brain dead. It's been too long. Like, why would that have been any worse? Like, why most? Like, why not? All of them were brain dead. It's been so long since anybody has visited the station that everybody is dead. Or just
say that, like, there's no time, like, there's something where, like, they have no time, they can only get one person.
Right.
Just have something in there to explain why you didn't even attempt to save any of the other people and then blew up the station, blowing up all of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And really just were like, whatever.
Also, Porthos was so cute in that one opening scene where it had like the dog cam where the camera was on the floor looking up at Porthos. Oh my God.
I love that. I want all the episodes to look like that. I want every episode from Porthos's point of view.
My last comment is, Maria, there was one point where you said that they like take off a furnace filter and it's just like a normal furnace filter. I laughed so hard because it was like I own that furnace filter.
Just a regular fucking air filter that you get at Home Depot.
That was all my notes.
All right.
But I thought it was a solid episode. It was interesting. It had a fun mystery. The conclusion of it was cool. Like I liked it. It was just like a solid Star Trek episode.
I agree. I think it was really fun. Like, obviously it had its issues because it's Enterprise, because it's Star Trek, but
Right.
like it was a fun Star Trek episode and I enjoyed it. And now it's time for a new segment. We are not alone in the universe, y'all. There are listeners out there who have reached out to tell us they're enjoying the show. So we're creating a brand new fan mail section. Guys, we need a name for this segment.
So we had a couple of suggestions, which was like hailing frequencies. I forget what the other one was.
Subspace
Communications.
Subspace communications, and
And Bill was like, "No, you are not using either of those."
no, those are for normal Star Trek podcasts / fan letters / anythings. No, not bad enough for Enterprise splaining. We are going to be calling this segment Read Alert, where we read emails and messages from our listeners because as we
READ.
read, we are going to read them because
I love a segment where we have to, every time we say the name, we're going to have to spell it because
Yep.
it does not make sense on audio.
Yep.
That is what you get from
Not-
a podcast like Enterprise Splaining.
not awkward enough for Enterprise splaining. Because one of the 4 things that Jamie knew about Enterprise was that someone invents the Red Alert and decides to call it Read Alert, which is why we decided to call
Which
everything.
I have been waiting for this.
Yeah.
I've been waiting
We
for
haven't
it.
gotten there yet.
That's why I make jokes about the chair of command and the trip of command and the Malcolm directive.
All right, Jamie, tell us something about our Read Alert, READ alerts that we have received recently.
So we got an email from a listener named Nicole who has emailed us before in the past, and it had a whole bunch of stuff in it. But I responded to every single thing that she said. But for this, I just wanted to bring up one of them because it was my favorite. She had a fan theory. I'm just going to read this. She said, I watched the pilot with some friends the other day, and we decided that the only way the vibe between T'Pol, Archer, and Trip makes sense is if they all met in a bar and slept together before the show started.
Oh, shit, that's brilliant.
And T'Pol and Archer remember it, but Trip doesn't.
I would argue that Archer is the one who doesn't remember it, but okay.
I love this theory so much. Like, Bill, you've mentioned you have a theory that Trip and T'Pol are just like fucking this whole time. But
yeah.
I do think it makes sense that maybe Archer is too. Or like at some point they all just like had a threesome. I love this. It does actually make some of their dynamic make more sense.
Yeah,
than
I think that's
what
true.
we've seen.
I'm going to look at it from that lens from now on.
100% agree.
And we got another email from another listener named Rachel, who I'm pretty sure is Nicole's sister. I think that these two listeners are sisters. They have the same last name and mention that they have a sister who also listens to the podcast. So I'm pretty sure they're sisters.
Right.
Rachel sent us a screenshot of a mug. So we do not have merch yet. So they wanted some merch, and so they made their own merch by making a mug with a quote from Bill from a prior episode.
So good.
Malcolm is a messy bitch who lives for drama. And this might be a good time to announce that we are currently working on merch. In fact, by the time you're listening to this, we might already have merch available. So if you are excited about this, you want some of your own Enterprise planning merch, I would try going.
Oh, boy.
I'm saying try because I don't. At the time we're recording, this is not ready, but assuming that it is ready by the time we release this episode, go to the ESO Network store. You can get to it by going to esonetwork.com and then clicking somewhere in there. There should be a button for like store. And we are going to have some merch in that store. We're definitely going to have a shirt with just our logo on it that says Enterprise Planning, but we're also working on some other things that we're designing. We actually liked this quote that they put on the mug, Malcolm is a messy bitch who lives for drama, so much that we might make some merch related to that as well. And we're also working on a Porthos Appreciation Society shirt. I don't know if these are going to be available at the time you're listening to it, or if only some of them will be, or none of them, but definitely go check out ESO Network store if you are interested in some cool Enterprise Planning merch.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can explain to other people the podcast, what Star Trek Enterprise is, what the format. So they talk about the show. Well, kind of, but only one person watches it, and the other two have to react to it.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't buy these shirts.
It's going to just cause you more trouble in your life.
Yeah.
And now, a moment from Bill. So when we started this podcast, we were putting together our socials medias, and I suggested that we should do some sort of monetization, and I suggested a buy me a coffee, and Jamie and Maria, like the Vulcan High Command, came down on me hard and said, no, you don't need this. According to the Jamie and Maria Science Council, monetization of this podcast does not exist and cannot possibly exist.
Okay, no, it's just that me and Maria have experienced as bloggers from back in the day, and we had a fairly popular blog, and we asked people for money, and not one person ever gave us money, and we had thousands of people reading each post, and not one person ever gave us even $1. So I was like, it does not make sense to even add this. Nobody will ever give us money, Bill. It doesn't matter. Like, unless we do like a Patreon.
That is great.
We're never getting money.
And I, as a Jonathan Archer-esque hero, had faith of the heart and put together a buy me a coffee page. And for the first year, no response.
Until...
And I want to say that multiple times I was like, you guys, can we just take that line out of our outro, because no one's ever going to give us money. No one has given us, I've proven that I'm right, that no one gives us money.
We just
Let's
sound
stop
pathetic.
saying it. Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm apparently made what is called in podcast language a call to action, which is what I would describe as begging. In one of our previous podcasts, I asked, look, I don't care who does it. One person. I just want one person to do buy me a coffee.
Just to prove Jamie wrong.
Just to prove Jamie and Maria wrong. Just so I can be completely insufferable about this.
Mm-hmm.
And God bless you. 3 people have done this.
Y'all came
Thank you
through
all.
for Bill. Thanks.
Thank you all. So, I have written this down here. First of all, thank you for contributing. You have sent some very kind messages. Second of all, I appreciate what you have done. And the reason I did it because I just wanted to prove Jamie and Maria wrong in a very Archer-like way. I just wanted to be an option. I understand how valuable money is. Thank you for those of us who gave us some money for this frankly ridiculous thing that we are doing here.
Yeah.
Because
which does cost money.
It
by the way,
does.
like we pay for our editing software, which is a couple $100 a year. We pay our artists, like for our logo, we pay to artists. For our t-shirts, we're gonna pay another artist.
We pay for
like to pay
Zoom.
people
We
for
pay
their
for a
work.
few things, but
Yeah.
we do it because we love you, not because we're in it for the money. If we were in it for the money, we wouldn't start an Enterprise podcast.
Enterprise
y'all.
podcast. Thank you for doing this. Because my initial plan was to find advertisers, and I had this really great one lined up, the market on Stamaris. But Maria and Jamie were like, well, we can't do that because they engage in human trafficking. And I'm like, really? Because I checked their GeoCities pages, and it's not listed at all. Or if it is, it's really low down on the page. And thank you for proving me in my small idiot way right. You are putting the read in Read Alert. I'm going to be insufferable about this. For everybody who has given us any money on Buy Me a Coffee, you are a better captain of the Enterprise than Archer ever would have been. You are promoted to captain. Please feel free to put that in your social media profile. Thank you. And if anybody else chooses to contribute, I will find even more appropriate advertisers that you are better than.
Bill, I just want to say, I'm sorry I was wrong. You were right. People did give us some money. Not enough to make up for our costs of this podcast. I don't think that will ever happen. But enough that we could, I don't know, buy a coffee each with it, or something. Mm-hmm. Who are the people who contributed so far?
We had one anonymous supporter, one whose name is Ali, and another one who has the Instagram name of Past Shelf Date, who has a very fun Instagram. So if you want to donate to us on Buy Me a Coffee, we are Enterprise Splaining. And I will only get more and more insufferable about this as we go on. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the people who donated. To the anonymous person, we get it. Like, we understand.
Yeah.
You don't need that on your record, so that's cool.
I'm reading it's Dr. Flock's Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. What's going on here?
All right, and that's the episode. Thank you for listening. Next episode, Jamie will be watching and telling us about the episode A Night in Sickbay, and we will have a special guest joining us. Special thanks to K.O. Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance, to our friend David for the beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell your friends about it. We really do appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as at Enterprise Splaining and on Blue Sky as at Enterprise Splain. You can also email us any comments or questions such as read alert, really? To enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And if you want to support this podcast, as we mentioned, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as Enterprise Splaining. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
All right. Well, Bill, tell us about some of the read, R-E-A-D alerts.
Well, no, me, I'm gonna,
All right,
I'm
sorry,
talking.
Sorry, I thought it was me. All right.
Everyone these days could use a little support, and your friends at the ESO Network are no different. With the ESO Network Patreon, the cool thing is when you help support us, it's you who will benefit. With 4 tiers starting for as little as 25 cents a week, you can listen to some of your favorite network podcasts early, hear exclusive content, maybe get some ESO swag, or even possibly take a shot at the geek seat. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/ESO Network.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.